Welcome back, everyone. Glad you could join me here today, episode 3420 of the Cabral Concept. I want to share with you a government-based report that may have slipped by you that I think is extremely important. If you're a practitioner or you're a parent or grandparent, you'll want to check this out, or maybe you're thinking about having kids one day. It's called the Make Our Children Healthy Again assessment. It was a 73-page report. I'm going to link up the PDF for you at stephencabral.com/3420 with all the show notes from today. Now, even if you don't read over the whole report, I did for you, and I want to share with you exactly what was in it and what this means for you, your children, the world at large. Depending, again, I know that this is somewhat controversial depending on maybe your political swing, but I don't see it that way. I look at it as these are the politics of our time, right? Republicans are in office right now. The last 4 years before that, Democrat was in office. But what really matters is the people, right? What really matters is change at the end of the day. And this report, say what you will, this report looks very seriously at the health of our children. And for someone with two daughters, which, maybe they'll have kids one day, I think this is really important for the future of our children. So I'm going to go over what that report said and then the goals of actually improving children's lives. But the first statistic was completely out of control. This is not okay. This is not okay. No matter what political, party you side with, this first stat is not okay. 50% of U.S. children are now living with at least one chronic health issue. And we're not talking about allergies, right? That's one of them. But we're talking about obesity, right? In young children. We're talking about autoimmune issues. So type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, these are all new. I know that it's happened over the last 20, 30 years really, but this is out of control for the human population now to get adult-based issues as children. We know something is wrong. Allergies and asthma I raise, but those are usually in conjunction with something else. Anxiety and mental health disorders. These are all disorders now that are being medicated for. There's many more, but we also have the neurodevelopmental-based conditions, ADD, ADHD, autism, Asperger's, executive functioning disorder. There are many more that we put into a category that look at neurodivergent or neurological based issues. And so we also want to understand that these aren't going away. So these kids have this, let's just say 8 years old, they have, let's say, type 2 diabetes and rheumatoid arthritis. You really think they're going to overcome them when they're 15 or 18 or 35? No, it's just a gradual worsening of this. So that means these kids are now set up for a life of hardship, of suffering, of being medicated. And maybe that was the goal, by the pharmaceutical industry, to get new customers on at a younger age. Maybe that was it. But what they're not doing, and this new administration is trying to do, is at least look for underlying root causes. Anybody that's promoting, looking for the underlying root cause, at least in that segment right there, has my, push to say, let's do more of that. Let's at least talk more about that. So what do they find in this report? Ultra-processed food. So when you look at school lunches, when you count tomato sauce and French fries as fruit and vegetables, that's a problem, right? That's literally gaming the system. Those are not fruits and vegetables, okay? That's not how it works. Yes, you could say a potato is a root vegetable and tomatoes are considered a fruit. It's ridiculous, right? Especially the tomato sauce that they serve is really what? Maybe a portion is tomato, but it's high fructose corn syrup, right? It's sugar in that tomato sauce. That's not a tomato. Serve a tomato if you want an actual tomato. And potatoes, serve potatoes rather than French fries that have been deep fried in oil. So we have to clean up the food-based system, not just in schools, but also what money is being used towards. It's cheap, processed foods. Americans, I saw statistics, spend such a small portion of their budget towards food, whereas other countries, and it's not like they don't spend their money on other things, but other countries, spend a little bit more. I'm not saying I want people to spend more money, but when their options are all these tasty food chemical-based bagged and boxed treats, it makes it really difficult to then even want to try to eat some fruits and vegetables, right? So this is a big challenge. Then there's environmental toxins and endocrine disrupting chemicals, EDCs. It's funny, but when I published the Rain Barrel Effect a bunch of years ago, it was just the start to the discussion about toxicity. Most people are like, you don't need a detox. There's no such thing as toxins. And now it's the thing that everybody talks about, right? It's always been there. This isn't new. It started in the 1950s, 1960s to a much greater degree, and it just gets worse every year now with over 100,000 man-made chemicals in the environment. We're not going to go through all 100,000, but what does it do? It causes massive inflammation in the body. It overwhelms the detox organs of the skin, the lungs, the kidneys, and the liver. And once those get bogged down, there's massive inflammation that leads to hormone disruption, weight gain, and much more, right? Then the third one is this, the overprescription of medication, not just by PCPs, pediatricians, but also by psychiatrists. So we've got over-medicating for mental health disorders. We've got over-medicating for health-based disorders, right? So they're both imbalances. They both have underlying root causes. Now, I'm not saying that there may not be trauma involved that needs to be worked on. I totally get it. And there's also acute-based cases. I'm not saying, like, I'm not unreasonable. I always say that if someone walks into my practice and their blood pressure is 190 over 135, and when it should be 120 over 80, like maximum, 115 over 175, should they be on, antihypertensive? Maybe they should for 2 to 3 months while we're working on it naturally to reduce their blood pressure, right? So it's not being unreasonable, but what's the long-term plan? The long-term plan is to put someone on an antidepressive and that's it. We know that they really stop working after 18 to 24 months in a lot of the cases, and actually suicide and other things go up at that point because you burned out all your serotonin. So yes, SSRI allows for more serotonin to be between the two synaptic clefts, right? The neurons, that's great, right? In the beginning, but what happens when you're not producing enough serotonin? Well, then that becomes a real issue for those happy, feel-good neurotransmitters, and you become much more depressed. So again, I think we need a real long-term plan, not just a pill for every ill. That's really important. The last one is this. As screen time goes up, physical activity goes down. So I know we have things like esports now and gaming and all of that. And you know what? I played video games when I was younger too, and I absolutely loved it. But the thing was, like, there was a cap on it. You didn't get to play video games for 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day, or maybe you did. I don't know. But I just think that we can't have ultra-processed food, toxins in the environment, and then sedentary children. And that is a real recipe for health issues. I know many people move there as an adult because they sit when they work and all of those things. I get it. And I get there's all this stress. But if we don't set kids up right in life, they have no chance as an adult. They've got to unlearn all these things when it's so much more difficult to do. So we need to get kids more sleep. We need to get them active more. For the goal is 150 minutes a day. And I know it seems like a lot. It's a little over 2.5, or it's about 2 hours of, how many hours is that? 2.5 hours of movement a day? Yeah. I guess, that's a good hour and 20 minutes plus 30. Yes. And it seems like a lot, but they should get resets to school. A lot of that's taken out. Gym is often taken out at school, and then after school play is taken out. So it's challenging, and I totally understand that. But we as parents and grandparents and practitioners and just people who care just need to do our best. That's it. Just do our best to at least get the kids out there walking, riding their bikes, like being kids again. That's how I look at it. All right, a couple more things I wanted to share with you now. What is the administration trying to do for the Make Our Children Healthy Again? Trying to reform the food system. I love that. I think that that's important. In the natural health community, we've been talking about getting rid of high fructose corn syrup. We've been talking about getting rid of artificial synthetic colors and flavors in foods. Get rid of them, right? We want a more natural, whole food-based nutrition. That's what we want. And again, I don't have any issues with nutritional supplements. I formulate, we third-party test, we do all of those things, but it's one part of the 8 parts of the de-stress protocol: diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest, emotional balance, scientifically backed supplements, and success mindset. Yes, nutritional supplements are amazing, right? Done the right way. But it still starts with a whole food anti-inflammatory diet, right? Supplements aren't going to make up for that. You need a really good nutrition plan. And ideally that starts in schools. So kids learn like, oh, these are vegetables. This is fruit. These are your lean proteins. And you just kind of like go through the line and they learn that. So even if kids aren't learning at home, well, they've got another chance, at school to learn that. And I think that's important too. And then more access to local organic foods at farmers markets in your local city. So whatever the local farm is, let them benefit. Let them sell to the community rather than a large, stop and shop grocer or something like that. All right. The next one is reducing toxins in the environment. I don't know how we're going to do that. I really don't. The only thing is through education and just trying to reduce your exposure. Get in a water filter, get in an air filter. and getting like a shower bath filter. Like that's the first stop. All of my favorites and favorite companies are at stephencabral.com/resources. I don't own those companies. Those are just my favorites. But I want to say this is like, I don't know, maybe we just keep petitioning, like keep trying to get these chemicals out of the world. But it's so crazy. I mean, there's another couple thousand added every single year. So after a decade, how many are added? Well, a minimum of another 20 to 30,000 minimum. Right? Minimum. From around 2017 to 2024, 2025, there was anywhere from 30 to 70,000 more man-made synthetic chemicals added. That's over an 8-year time period. That's completely insane. The next one is this: better overall lifestyle medicine, meaning like doctors and pediatricians. And I know that they don't have any time. I know they're super stressed. They need to give more integrative health advice to families. They need to teach a little bit more about movement and sunshine and healthy eating and water and hydration and less exercise, less energy drinks, like all of those things. They need to just do a little bit more. Maybe a handout, a small handout, a one pager, anything like that, I think would go a long way. And then overall, just parental empowerment. I thought that this was a great note. I called this out, is that, parents need more tools. So whether it's, and I find this hard to believe that the government's going to give parents more tools, but you never know. Schools, like we just need to empower parents with more. So a podcast like this, but it doesn't have to be this. It can be other podcasts that we get a grassroots movement going where we share ideas. You go to cabralsupportgroup.com. It's a completely free private Facebook group. Say what you want in there. 34,000 organic members, just members that have just gone there. We never advertise it. We pay a team to be able to answer your questions there. We're trying to help. Again, we're not the only ones, but we want to start a real grassroots movement. So this is it. I mean, this is what we need to do because it's not going to get better on its own. When I was growing up and teaching a lot of this, so like, we'll just say like right out of high school when I started working in nutrition, personal training, how long ago was that? 25, 30 years ago, somewhere right around there. Well, I mean, here's the thing. We always taught there is about 25% to 30% of kids unhealthy and overweight. It's 50% now. What if in 30 more years, it goes to 75% or even 2/3? More kids than not are going to have autoimmune issues and mental health issues and really these, again, debilitating diseases of the body. They're going to take right into adulthood. And I don't want that for them. I don't want it for you. I don't want it for our world. So hopefully we can all band together. We can share ideas. We can just try to do more. Thank you so much for listening in here today. If this was helpful, of course, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. And for the full report, I'm going to link it, the PDF, at stephencabral.com/3420. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.